That's a bummer. A new study published in Current Biology determined BPA-free plastic products aren't necessarily safer. 20 years ago, when the researchers conducted the experiment for the first time, BPA was found to give rise to chromosomally abnormal embryos in mice, leading the researchers to believe the same could be happening to humans. BPA was found to interfere with the endocrine system in the body, which regulates everything from fertility to brain development. In this new study, researchers used BPS, a bisphenol which is used to replace BPA, and found the mice in the study all began to develop reproductive problems even though they were kept in BPA-free cages, similar to their previous study. BPA was found to affect the developing brain, heart, lungs, as well as other organs in the body. The researchers are warning the public about the dangers of different types of plastics used in consumer products, as they could ultimately affect the body. A researcher involved in the study said plastic containers should never be put into the microwave or dishwasher because this causes the chemicals in the container to leak out. More stories related to plastic. Most of the plastic in the ocean comes from these countries. Plastic waste is slowly but surely taking over the world's oceans, and the bulk of them apparently comes from just 5 Asian countries. A study from Ocean Conservancy estimates that 55 to 60% of plastic polluting the oceans comes from 5 countries: China, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. Uncollected and mismanaged waste on land accounts for about 80% of the 8 million metric tons of trash that flow into the oceans each year. Environmental organization Greenpeace claims corporations are also at fault for selling products in single-use plastic packaging, especially in so-called sachet economies like the Philippines. Various studies have shown that plastic pollution negatively impacts marine animals and may be indirectly affecting humans through the food chain. Fortunately, improving waste management practices in the 5 countries can result in a 45% reduction of global plastic waste leakage by 2025. In tackling plastic pollution, everyone has a role to play. From governments and big conglomerates to the people on the street, every bit helps.
Yep, there's plastic in your sea salt. Karmic justice comes swift with Mother Nature, as plastic waste we've been throwing in the ocean is now coming back to us, literally, via the food we eat. Microplastic particles typically flow into the ocean, since they're often too small to be filtered out by sewage treatment plants. The tiny pieces of plastic are mistaken for food and ingested by fish and other sea creatures. Seafood meant for human consumption often contain these particles, and now a new study shows that salt may also be a vehicle for plastic contamination. Researchers studied sea salt extracted from 8 different countries and found that nearly all were contaminated with 72 foreign particles. Only the one from France was found to be free of contaminants. 30 of the particles were microplastics, 17 were pigments that may have once been plastic, and 4 were dust particles. 21 could not be identified. Scientists say the current concentration of plastic is low and won't affect human health. But if plastic pollution continues, those levels may increase and potentially become detrimental to our well-being. So for now, maybe ease up on the salt, and more importantly, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Waste plastic can help build cheaper homes. A New York startup has developed an innovative way to recycle waste plastic, converting it into an alternative building material that can be used to build affordable housing. The bifusion machine can be powered by propane gas or electricity. It can process all types of plastic waste. The plastic waste does not have to be reprocessed. Instead, it's shredded inside the machine before it's made into a new material called replast and compressed into bricks. The replast bricks are not as strong as concrete, so are reinforced with steel rods, wire, and layers of mortar. The company said replast has been used in projects including retaining walls in New Zealand and California, which have withstood environmental tests including earthquakes. The company has so far raised around $30,000 of a $250,000 target on Indiegogo. On its campaign page, it says the bifusion machine will likely be available in the US by May next year.
China doesn't want the UK's recycled plastic anymore. Rich countries are now scrambling to find other places to dump their garbage after China's recent plastics ban. China imported 7.3 million tons of plastic waste in 2017 from the US, the EU, the UK, and Japan. But starting this year, it's banning 24 categories of recyclables and solid waste. Britain alone sends around 2/3, about 500,000 tons, of its recycled plastic to China every year. UK recycling firms are now looking to Malaysia and Vietnam. However, both those countries have capacity issues. Unless other alternative markets can be found, the plastics will have to be sent for incineration or dumped in a landfill. Well, we could always start launching all of our garbage into space. An ambitious plan to clean up the oceans. Forbes reports the Ocean Cleanup, a non-profit organization, has launched a beta cleanup system to collect plastic from the ocean. According to the organization, there are about 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic on the surface of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The organization has come up with a cleanup system that consists of a 600-meter-long floater and a 3-meter-deep skirt to prevent the plastic in the ocean from flowing over it. The system would also take advantage of natural forces such as the wind, ocean currents, and waves to propel the system forward and form a U shape naturally to concentrate plastic in the center. The cleanup system is also fitted with solar-powered lights, cameras, sensors, satellite antenna, along with anti-collision systems. A support vessel would come by periodically to take out the plastic gathered by the cleanup system, which would then be recycled and turned into products. This is just the first fleet. The organization eventually plans to launch 60 more fleets in a year or two. Business Insider reports some researchers worry the system might be harmful for marine life and could trap sea creatures as well. Meanwhile, others worry plastic parts in the ocean might be deeper underwater than the device can reach and claim it might be a much more complex task to remove such pollutants.